There is only one question I am left with after this week's chapter. What in the hell is Denji gonna barf up? This chapter was pretty simple, but a wild ride that by the end of it has had me excited for Chainsaw Man Part 2 in a way I haven't felt, well, ever. After all, I got into Chainsaw Man with Part 2, so I ask, is this what Chainsaw Man Part 1 felt like reading it week to week? Because this chapter was the bomb, and depending on what happens next, well, that could literally be the case with next chapter. So there are a wide array of theories for what kind of devil Denji is about to barf up. And you know what? We may already know what that is. So let's break down the chapter and discuss it bit by bit, shall we? And since this is the final chapter before Christmas, the perfect gift for me is simple. Just hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoy my content. No challenges or goals this week. I'm just gonna let what happens. And honestly, I'm kind of exhausted. So this chapter was pretty wild, and it kicks off with Pochita landing at the feet of aging. And can I just say, I love the absolutely disgusting look of Pochita in his heart form. He looks crazy with all the arteries and whatnot attached to him and the weird amorphous look. As a fan of the art behind horror and grotesque stuff, this was nice. I also laughed at the first panel though, mostly just because of the blur effect on Pochita. It just reminded me of the meme I made last week for that video. But aging demands that they stomp out Pochita, only for Denji to pull the starter as he transforms before aging's eyes, looking back into Chainsaw Man with some incredible art to boot. And my god, I cannot wait to see what this is like in the anime in 25 million years when it finally does come out. And so he does what he does best, and Chainsaw Man cuts this a-hole's head off, and then some. He actually cuts him up quite a bit during this entire chapter. It really just feels so satisfying though. I gotta say that after all of this time, to see Pochita go crazy and just do what he does best, which is slaying devils and bathing in their blood and guts. But it still doesn't phase aging, even though this is the most vivid pain he's ever experienced according to him. He is pretty much immortal at this point because they don't know what could possibly kill someone who is literally the embodiment of, well, age. He might as well be indestructible, effectively, and we see him flex his powers by evolving Chainsaw Man into a tree. Now, I don't ask for much, but I need a statue of this. I mean, I would buy it. I would even do an unboxing video if they ever did one of these, because it's just, look at the art. It's just so good. Seeing Chainsaw Man in the form of a tree, it's just so unique, and Fujimoto cooked so hard with this art, really just this entire chapter. It just looks so freaking good. Also, blink, you'll probably miss it. It seems that Fumiko wasn't the only person to have their liver taken. If I am correct, the fact that other public safety are bleeding from their mouths could also mean they will suffer the same fate as Fumiko, which is they have their livers taken. And all I can say is, actually, let's hope so. And speaking of trees, on the flip side, Denji quite literally eats an entire human tree, then simply goes on to eat, well, another one. I mean, really, dude is a mad lad. Also, look at this hole in the tree. If this isn't something made out of nightmares, then I don't know what. Also, the fact Denji just willingly killed a seemingly innocent person, that's pretty wild as well. And the tree guy even tries to stop Denji from continuing to eat these people, telling him he has no right as they've achieved their final evolution. And Denji isn't even worthy because he hasn't even been there for 20 years. But from Denji's perspective, well, the Empire, I'm kidding. He's thankful for the food and he's eating it with gusto. So he's sure these people would forgive him. And honestly, this is a sign. You know, he's got his mojo back when Denji is eating anything nutritious that is put in his mouth. And also, let me remember how actually crazy Denji is too, because when he is depressed, well, he seems actually more like a normal-ish kind of guy, but regular Denji Man, he is crazy with a capital C. And after the last couple of months I've experienced, you may just be like me for real, for real. I also think it's interesting that Tree Guy calls Denji a devil as he hacks into another tree. It's quite interesting seeing the perspective from this guy who is stuck in this world and has pretty much gone insane. To him, Denji is a devil. And think about that. It just goes to show the lengths Denji goes to and how he has pretty much no limits, especially when he is confident in himself. And it also probably helps that he's only experienced traumatizing event after traumatizing event to help him get, well, to this point. So, the world kind of created him. But holy crap, oh my god, Pochita slices aging in half in this art. Oh my god, I can't get over it. It is just so good. It is unlike anything else we've seen in part 2. I was just so hyped after reading this. I didn't even need my morning coffee or gamer subs to feel that way either. That's just how hyped this chapter made me. So already getting pretty tired of being slaughtered countless times, aging practically begs for Chainsaw Man to eat him. As once again, this guy is currently immortal. Well, that is until Denji tells Pochita to, well, do the barf. Wait. It's just so crazy, man. Denji literally turned barfing into a special move. Now, I don't know about you, but this kind of reminded me of that infamous Himino scene, and this is not just because I'm a Himino simp. Is Denji going so far as to turn even past traumatic events into his strength? Probably not, but I mean, who knows really? Fujimoto is a very good storyteller, so it is possible. It just got me thinking. Plus, barfing is like a staple of this manga anyways. It could be anything. I just wanted an excuse to bring up Himino. So here is the really cool part I didn't even realize. Denji not only is eating to revive Pochita to continue fighting, effectively making even Pochita immortal, creating a stalemate between the two, which I thought was pretty clever, but he's also overeating to get himself to barf up something, anything. And in this case, he wants Pochita to barf up some kind of useful devil. Now, I ask, what could this devil even be? And well, I'm gonna go down a very short list here because I'm gonna be real, I don't have a clue. Now, I have seen people suggest the Control Devil, which I obviously have gone back and forth on, but I don't think that will happen either. Thankfully, my comment section has told me that that's pretty much wrong, because while Denji did eat Makima, we have Nayata, so she wasn't eaten or erased. Now, another big one would be Power, which Denji did use her blood, so he technically did consume her, but once again, he remembers Power. Power, I guess, still exists in hell somewhere, so she probably won't be barfed up either. If we're gonna see Power again, I think Denji's gonna have to go Doom Guy and go straight to hell. But then I got to thinking, nuclear armament. I think this is probably one of the more likely ones, only because what is something that can't be killed? Well, human conflict, and the nuclear weapons were birthed out of a way to end conflict and keep peace. However, vomiting up nuclear weapons, especially a tactical nuke or a smaller warhead, could probably vaporize everything there, which gives us our first problem with that theory too. If nukes are to be used and are considered effective against aging, would Chainsaw Man also die in that initial blast? But then I remembered something. Well, Yoru specifically wants Pochita to regurgitate nuclear weapons, and then it all connected. What if I am thinking of this in the wrong way? Then I remembered something from years ago, all the way back in part 1. Makima in chapter 84, talking to Kishibe, says something peculiar. Because Chainsaw Man ate them all up, the sixth sense all humans used to have, the light of a particular star that could break children's minds. 4 possible conclusions other than death at the end of living beings' lifespan. They all cease to exist, and I can't recall them. Yet even now, I remember the sight of their devils fighting Chainsaw Man as clear as day. Now, other than death, we now know what some of these 4 possible conclusions are. 1 is evolving into a human tree. That is one conclusion. Makima also brings up something peculiar though, the light of a particular star that would break children's minds. If we take this literally, this would mean that there is a certain star out there somewhere that, well, just breaks children's minds. But I think Fujimoto was possibly laying the groundwork for chapter 188. Think about it. How does a star operate? Well, Google says the following. In a star's core, hydrogen atoms are squeezed together by intense heat and pressure to form helium, releasing energy. This process is called nuclear fusion. Well, what else uses nuclear fusion? Nuclear weapons. Also stars that create light. What creates light? Nuclear weapons. What if the process of nuclear fusion is one of those conclusions? Maybe there is something within the process of nuclear fusion that can stop the process of aging, reverse it, or just simply render aging's power useless. Is it nuclear radiation? Is it a mutation of DNA strands? What is it? I've been racking my brain all this morning to find some conclusion that makes sense, and none of it does. But I really want to believe it is nukes, just because it was set up a couple months ago by Yoru herself saying it, and the fact that, well, we don't know anything else that Denji has swallowed, and Denji doesn't seem to know either. I mean, I would be happy if it were Makima or Power that came back, but it just doesn't make sense currently, and it would take a lot of explaining to do. But no, I do think Fujimoto may be onto a Twister Rudy, and Pochita maybe is about to vomit up something that is going to supercharge his future wife-to-be, Yoru, that bad bitch. We'll just have to see. Most of my theories are wrong anyways, but it's interesting to think about. If you can give me one thing before Christmas, it would just be to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. That's all. Thank you so much, everyone, for everything you do for me. I appreciate your viewership, and I'll see you guys on December 31st. Stay safe out there, y'all. When someone falls down, help them back up, and remember, the true enemy is the bi-weekly devil, because he's, god damn it, he's back!